Afternoon, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar, Your Social, Now What? Making Social Media Work for You. I'm Chris Ripley, and I'm going to be the presenter today, and I thank everybody for being here. I have to say that these webinars have been quite successful. Between last week and this week, we had about 75 people sign up, so that's pretty exciting, and we've made recordings available as well. When I'll make a recording of this, and when I send out the link to this recording, if you didn't make the first one, I will send out the link for that one for you as well. So we have recordings of these as well, and that's always good to have. Let me just double check here, and yes, it does say recording, so that's cool. So let me check the audio. If somebody could just type in yes or whatever, if you could hear me, or a Y would be fine. Just one person do that, or anybody. Then if nobody does it, I'll know. There we go. All right. Thanks, George. Bonus points for you at the end, extra bonus or whatever it might be. So welcome. And with that, I'm going to put the GoToMeeting away and get started. This is, you wonder, what is this? And they always say that when you do these kinds of presentations, you should bring something personal into it. And basically, this is squash in my garden that is basically just taken over the whole thing. I put in too many squash plants, and then that's the only thing that grows really well in my garden is squash. So we have an abundance of squash. Maybe, George, that's what I'll send you, some squash. But I thought that was, it's kind of interesting. I got some really nice pictures. If you look up in the top of the photo, you can see the sunlight was catching a few of the leaves, and you'd have to do a little bit of editing on that to make it look better, but it looked really nice before it was a picture. So anyway, let's get into it. So as many of you know, you signed up through Constant Contact, and at the end I'm going to talk for a couple of slides about Constant Contact and really talk about what I'm talking about today, which this is not the greatest slide. I've decided I'm going to have a graphics person recreate this and make it bigger. But when we talk about Constant Contact, or we talk about online marketing, and today we're talking about social media, one of the elements of this, we're just thinking about our total online presence. And as a business, you need to have a total online presence today, so you'll be recognized by Google. And you need to have a website that's great. You need to do the marketing that's great, and that would certainly include email marketing. That would be probably the first thing that you would want to do, because it's the biggest return on your investment. You can do networking, either live or online, try to create viral videos. I had a client once that created a how to change your oil in your John Deere tractor video. It's got over 1,000 views. You have to write a blog and put new content on your website on a regular basis. And I had heard that you needed to have 300 words. That's what Google was kind of looking for on a blog post or a page on a website or whatever. Recently, when I was listening to an SEO podcast, they said that it was 600 words that was the new number that they were hearing. So I haven't made any changes yet, and I'm still going with the 300. But understand that Google wants you to create relevant content for your website, so it knows that when somebody does a search and they show your website, that it's going to be what they were looking for. So then the other element of this whole online internet marketing thing is social media, and that's what we're going to talk about today. And that's an important element of it. There's no question at all, but you want to have these other elements as well. And if you were even to say to me, I hate to do this, but between a website and email marketing, that's almost a toss-up, but you need to have a website and you need to do email marketing, certainly. Social media is good because its only cost is its time. Although now on Facebook, you need to do Facebook advertising more and more. It's funny, I've had a couple of clients that decided to do their own Facebook advertising, and I can say that one of the biggest problems that people have is that they do it for the whole United States and they don't pare down the market. So that's for another presentation. But anyway, so if you're ever going to do Facebook advertising, you don't want to do it for the whole United States. You only want to do it for what your target market is. So that's just a little bonus tip on today's webinar. Our agenda for the day, is social media right for my business? How do I create content? Number one problem that businesses have. I mean, how many times have you gone to a Facebook page and seen not that many posts? The last post was March 13th, or maybe it was Halloween or something like that. But we're going to try to, I'm actually going to go off the slides a little bit and give you one place to go for helping you create Facebook content and also creating other web content. How others are using social media, I think that's always a good thing. If you're a bakery and you want to figure out what you want to do on social media, go like some other bakeries and see what they're doing. You need to know the etiquette, online etiquette. You certainly don't want to be, asking every day, 3 times a day for the order. That's not what social media is. And then another big question that people often have is, how do I know if it's working? And we're starting to see little bit, return on investment in social media was always tough. And I certainly believe no matter what social media you're on, you want to try to get people at some time or another to come to your website and get them to leave their email address so you can keep in touch with them in the future on your own terms. Facebook is rented land, and if Facebook decided to change things, and they're doing that right now, in that you need to do more Facebook advertising than you needed to do 2 years ago, no question at all. Figuring out how it's working is getting a little bit easier, because with the Facebook advertising, you get more metrics, and you also get to take advantage of Facebook's wealth of knowledge about us to grow your list. So no matter where you are on social media, one of the first things that you want to try to do, not immediately, but you can try it immediately if you can come up with a good way to do it, is to try to get people's email address and get in additional information from them so you can own the information. So first we're going to talk about Facebook. Is it right for my business? In the B2C world, business to consumer, we're seeing 89% of the businesses using Facebook. In the business-to-business world, 81% using Facebook, and I can understand that certainly. Nonprofit world, 91% are using it, and number one reason probably for that, I would say, is nonprofits are looking for anything they can do for free because they have limited budgets. So they, with Facebook, it becomes just the time that you're putting into it. It doesn't, there's no physical cost with it. So, I would say for most businesses, it's good. In the B2B world, I work with both B2B and B2C companies. Most of the B2B companies that I work with, we have Facebook pages. If you were to hold me to the wall and say I can only do one, and I'm in the B2B world, I might recommend that you do LinkedIn. But that would be, you'd want to do a little bit of market research. And that's one of the things, whenever you embark on any marketing endeavor, try to do a little bit of market intelligence, survey your market, like I was talking about before, by liking other Facebook pages and learning what other people are doing. Now, it's funny, I was working with a local government, and they were looking at like the next local government to see what they were doing. And I would encourage you, go out and look at people in different places. You'll find, there's a big concentration of social media experts in San Diego. So if you like some businesses in San Diego, maybe you'll find some that you'll really learn from. I'm not sure, but, go out and get some other ones as well. So, it's going to take you a little bit of time. You have to have things to share, which really, when I think about almost any business, you always have things to share. I was talking with a client this morning, an auto repair shop, and one of the things that we're going to start doing with him is we're going to have 200,000 mile and 300,000 mile clubs for his customers who have that many miles on their cars. And all we really have to do, we can create a page on Facebook to recognize these people. We can post it on Facebook to recognize these people. Then we've created a PowerPoint presentation that continuously runs on a TV in the waiting area of his business, and we can put them on there. And we're doing everything digital, and we can have that done in a couple of days. So, and that gives you a couple of different media to use. And then once we get enough of those people, let's say we get 10 or 15 of them, we could make a YouTube video. So if you need to be found, I'll show you on searching for my business how my Facebook page comes up in the top 10. So, minimum 3 times per week. With businesses, we usually post 4 times a week plus. And when I say 4 times a week plus, we basically plan posts of 4 times a week. But if they're having events or sales, or if they take a picture and want to put it in their news feed on Facebook, those are all extra. And that's really what I would recommend most people doing. Use one of the tools. You can schedule your posts directly on Facebook if you would like, or you can use HootSuite that I'll get into shortly that'll show you how to schedule your posts as well. So you only have to do it once for the week. And then if anything comes up, you just add it in later, and then you end up doing maybe 5 or 6 posts in a week, which is good, no more than 10. And you want to go for quality over quantity always. But I'll tell you, the best posts are pictures of your customers doing something, engaging with you, buying something from you. If you're a service business and you go out and you pressure wash the side of a house, and, if it's like my house now and it's got, some green on the side, and then you take a picture before and after, people love that stuff. That's certainly something that you can do. And we'll talk about being visual and how important being visual is coming up in the future. But those are great things that you can do to get engagement on your Facebook page. How you should break it down: get likes, shares, comments, entertain, invite conversation. You can go back, and we talked about this last week as well. Ask questions, images and video. 30% should be useful information, industry stuff. For my auto repair shop Facebook page, one of the things that we do is we put auto recalls on there. We've been quite busy with the GM situation there, but we put auto recalls on there. So that's, some interesting information. And then 20% can be calls to action, and when you've done this other 80%, then people don't mind the 20%. They realize that you're a business and you might try to sell something, but, make it special for Facebook people if you can, or, do something along those lines if you'd like. Different types of Facebook content. Here's a fill in the blank, where you ask people to fill in the blank. Here's a question. And here's a fun fact or a tip. So those are all good things. And what I'm seeing, these text-only posts work, and you balance things out. You do some images and you do some text-only posts. Here we're talking about visual posts like photos or videos. Working with political candidates over the last couple of months. We've done some, quite a few videos, most of them, the political candidates talking for a minute or two about positions on particular issues. Those things get great viewership on Facebook. I have a lawn care company that I work with, and I was out one day blowing the grass that blows out onto the road. I live in a suburban neighborhood and we have a street, and when you cut the grass goes out there. Well, I took about a 12-second video of me blowing the grass clippings onto my lawn so they go back on and recycle. And that's a better way. When you leave them, they go into the drain and they end up in the Chesapeake Bay here outside of Washington, D.C. So you don't want to do that. So that 12-second video, we got over 100 views from it. I'd have to go back and look at the final number. We posted it directly to Facebook. I recommend that when you do videos, you post them to YouTube and Facebook separately. So you'll get the most traction that way. And digital content, links from other websites, that sort of thing. That's always good. Visual content. Here's an exercise where you figure out, here, what could be fill in the blank, what could be a question, what could be the photos that we use, a tip factor stat that you could put in there, link to a blog post. What are some of the things that you could do to create some content? So they also talk about, and I'm not going to do this today, but you can do this on your own. Just figure out what you can do. And I'll you know what I'll do? Because you should probably get a copy of the slides. So I'll put a copy of the slides along with the video. And after, probably on Monday of next week, I'll send out an email with the slide link and a copy of the, the recording of it as well. So I'm just looking to see if anybody had any questions or anything. Looks good. So create an editorial calendar. Oh, that's another thing to do here. Plan weekly. Take time on Friday. Whatever day is good for you, And, like I said, be flexible. Leave 1 or 2 posts open for something that comes up. I say don't do it that way. I should have changed that. I say, schedule your 4 posts, and then anything that comes up is extra. And that's a great way to create engagement to me, where you throw in the extra stuff. So I got to change this on this slide deck. And here's how other companies are using it. Here you can see people asking questions, sharing a video. This is shared on YouTube. I say share it directly on Facebook. It used to be that Facebook didn't handle video very well, but it's gotten a lot better. Be helpful about things, provide helpful information, involve people, and what do you do next? Try these things out. And what I'm going to do now, I'm going to take a quick break from the presentation before we go into Twitter, and I'm going to go to my Facebook. And actually, we have a separate account set up for managing the businesses that we manage, and it's my grandfather's account. It's invisible to most people. But what I'm going to do is, I'm going to go to, this is the Strategic Marketing Group page, and I'm only going to go there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up on the top here in the search bar, and I'm going to search for Postplanner. And this is a tool, and all you have to do is, go up in the top here and search for Postplanner, and then you're going to have to sign up. And I'm not going to go into that part of it. I'll let you figure that stuff out for yourself. But this is right on Facebook here. And Postplanner, there's a free version of it. It's relatively limited. I have the pro version of it, which is $29 a month, which if you want to, do a great job on Facebook and want to try to make it as quick and easy as possible, and, especially if you're a business owner, if your time is worth more than $29 an hour or whatever it might be. This is a good tool to have. And even if not, this is just a good tool to have. And I don't even make any money. I should have an affiliate link, but I don't. But there are 3 different places where you can go on Postplanner. They have status ideas. So when we talk about questions and fill in the blank and that sort of thing, here are some fill in the blank questions. And then here, you can click through and see some other ones, and here, fill in the blank. If I were to switch careers, I would switch careers if whatever it might be. Here are some other ones. You're looking back at the questions. How will you spend your day today? Which companies do you think will change the world? Whatever it might be. Or you could, it might give you an idea that you can change it around a little bit. But then all you have to do is click right on this, and it's going to fill right in. And if you want, you can add it to a queue. You can actually go right here and schedule it. So let's say I didn't want to schedule it until, let's say I schedule it. I'm going to schedule it here, and maybe we'll go back and check this. I don't have to wait that long. We'll say 1:30. So it's going to go out at 1:30 on my strategic marketing group page. All I got to do is click OK, and it's going to happen. That's one thing. It gives you all these photos. You often see photos and you wonder where they come from. So here's a bunch of photos. You can do it the same way. You can schedule it. You click share this photo, and here's your schedule, and however you'd like to do it, and it's going to schedule it for you. And then they also have trending content, so that curated content that we were talking about, which it's kind of customized for me. You can go out and customize it for yourself, for your own industry. But here's different things, and here's some World Cup stuff. So Postplanner is a great thing for Facebook, and basically just works with Facebook. But for many of you, that might be all you need to be doing. LinkedIn might be in there second. And then the other tool is HootSuite. And HootSuite is a tool that allows you to post to multiple social media networks the same thing at the same time. And basically, all you have to do is click here to compose your message. These are the different accounts that I could post to if I would like to. I can attach an image or a file. It gives me a chance to schedule. And then HootSuite just recently added where they actually will create content for you. And this is where, they'll go and they'll suggest content. Now, I'm not sure on this. I have a HootSuite paid account, which is, I only pay $5.99 because I joined a long time ago, but it's $9.99 now. Still well worth the $9.99. And it goes through and finds things that might be interesting to your audience based on criteria that you give it. You give it some keywords, that sort of thing, and it's taking a long time, much longer than I can talk, but it brings up content for you. So here, I could click on all of this and then schedule it, and I have content going ahead for a while, if I would like. And I could curate this as well. I could change it, do whatever, change the criteria. But this is new, and I'm not sure how it works. And again, I make no money on this, so I'm just sharing this with you because it's great. They're great tools for us. And if you with anybody who's on the call, if you want to call and talk to me later and learn a little bit more about these tools. I think I have some videos as well on HootSuite, although I haven't done a HootSuite video since they added that content part to it. So now we're going to get into Twitter. And the question is, Twitter right for my business. B2C world, 80% are using it. In the B2B world, 85% are using it. In the nonprofit world, only 69% are using Twitter. Lots of times with businesses that I work with, we have to decide what we're going to use and what we're not going to use, and often Twitter falls off the list. But the good thing about it is if you use a tool like HootSuite, you can post to Twitter, and it's not, you're keeping your Twitter account going. Maybe you'll get some followers. And then if it ever comes to the time that you want to use Twitter, it's there for you to use. So, yeah, the little GoToMeeting thing popped up again, but it doesn't look like. So use Twitter if you have the resources. Again, you can use it for content creation and curation. You can use it for monitoring. That's what a lot of people do. And, the two big uses that you see for Twitter in the world are in news and politics, in sports, that kind of news, sports thing, and then celebrity. And if you want to be a thought leader as well, it's another place, and if you are, let's say you want to tweet your blog post, tweet about your blog post, that sort of thing, certainly something you can do. So, it's you got to keep up with it. There's, 5 a day, and you can do that certainly with HootSuite, but people are tweeting all the time. And here, I talk about this with people on LinkedIn, and the same is true on Twitter. People are looking at Twitter at all different times, and the tweets just show up as the time goes on. So there's a good chance that people won't see your tweets. So quantity certainly can be the key in Twitter. You can create, you can curate, you can really do both. And, that's okay. Retweets, if you see something great, just like sharing in Facebook, you can retweet. And then use hashtags. One of the ways we've used hashtags, very honestly, is we have a bar that we work with. It's a pub. It's a nice place to go. And they do a lot of sporting events. And for the Washington Capitals, they're a bar that a lot of people that like the Caps like to go to. So we would go on Twitter when Caps games were coming up and invite people to come watch the game at the Old Town Pub, and we would include hashtags that were related to the Capitals. It could be hashtag Capitals, hashtag Wash Caps. It could be any of those things. So, it's really up to you. So, let's talk about hashtags here. Oops. So, all right, I like to keep up, and I was, we all know what a hashtag looks like, but what exactly is it? What is it? To get more specific, a hashtag consists of words or phrases with no spaces. You can see here you have small business, a couple of words, quotes, one word, and preceded by the hashtag sign that is used to tie various social media posts together and relate them to a topic. So just as we did with the Washington Capitals, so there may be people who follow the Capitals on Twitter, so they're looking for hashtag Washington Capitals, and they go on Twitter and they do a search for hashtag Washington Capitals to see about injuries or whatever it might be. And then they see our bar posts and they happen to be in the area where the bar is and they want to watch the game. Maybe they'll go and watch the game. So that's what, one way to do it. Certainly with politics and that sort of thing, you see hashtags used quite a bit as well. Used across social networks. They've had them on Facebook for 2 or 3 years. They haven't caught on as much, but I saw my daughter using hashtags the other day, so I'm going to have to ask her what's going on with that. You can create a hashtag anytime. I've gone to events and there have been events for particular hashtags. So you go on Twitter and search for that hashtag, and you can see what the people at the events are saying. So anybody can create a hashtag. but you don't want to abuse it. You don't want to, take Washington Capitals and, start selling crazy stuff and use that hashtag, because people will get upset with it and they'll change. So, you can do links on Twitter. You can do stats, facts, or tips. And nothing's to stop you from, if you had Postplanner, you could easily copy and paste into Twitter if you'd like, or you could copy and paste into HootSuite. I don't know if that's legal or not. I don't know what the Postplanner people are. Well, I'll take that back. It's up to you what you do with it. You can put quotes, and that's another thing that you can do as well. Visual contents, videos. Twitter has Vine, which is 6-second videos. Kind of neat. Trying to sell your product in 6 seconds, that might be tough, but it makes you go right to the point. Graphics as well work in Twitter, so that's another way to go. Here's a little Twitter content exercise to get you going on that as well. So that's really up to you. How other people are using it. Post news and events. If people are following you, you can see that they have, CMA fun as their hashtag. So they would want to tell their constituents to, search on Twitter for the CMA hashtag. Share fun facts. You could also follow at Courier Museum, and then in your Twitter feed, you'll actually see them come through. Or you can search for Courier Museum as well. Retweet other stuff that you might see. That's always good. And sometimes that's a good way to get followers, because maybe after you retweet something from somebody, then they start to follow you. Curate content, share things that are going on, just like we talked about on Facebook, similar to Facebook there. Try to tweet as much as you can. If you can't do it 5 times a day, that's okay. I'm one of those who's a little bit more tolerant to that. Share curated content and then retweet or thank a follower. If you were to use HootSuite and do it 3 times a day or 4 times a day, you would be fine as well. Retweet or thank a follower, great thing to do as well. If you have Twitter set up on your phone, you get notifications when people follow you, and then you could go back and follow them and thank them, and maybe try to create a relationship. And that's one way that you might be able to do a little bit of selling on Twitter. Okay, LinkedIn. Here are the numbers here. B2C, not a lot of that going on. B2B, 91%. I mean, 71% is a healthy number, so I won't say I should take that statement back. And then not a lot of activity in the nonprofit world. So, and that probably, I don't know. I'd have to look into it. Maybe that's an opportunity to do some LinkedIn education, because I certainly think if you were in the nonprofit world and you talked about what your nonprofit did on Twitter, you could cultivate donors that way. You could cultivate people attending events. You could cultivate donors. I have a title agency marketing group on LinkedIn, and I've had it now for quite a while, probably 7 years. And there's about 1,200 people in it. And about 25% of the people who signed up for these webinars came from that title company marketing group. So I really think, I think for nonprofits, it's a big opportunity, because the way I look at LinkedIn, I don't want to, go off topic too much. But the way I look at LinkedIn for B2B or even B2C and nonprofits as well, is you want to show up in people's news feed on LinkedIn. Wrong browser. So I actually had it set for this. So this is my LinkedIn page, and here, this is great. I got to give Carolyn credit. She's the executive director of one of the Chamber of Commerce in Southern Maryland. And I think that's a great little graphic to put on there. And sometimes I think that people treat LinkedIn a little bit too much like Facebook. LinkedIn is for business people, but I think that's perfect. I think that's a great one. So you can look through here. Here's Mike Benton. Mike spends a lot of time on LinkedIn, and he's got some images up there. Businesses like tennis. So this is kind of a motivational thing. University of Maryland, University College. I got my master's degree there. Somebody's got a new photo. Here's some content curation. When I work with Huntington Learning Centers, I work with Huntington Learning Centers on their social media. And if you're a Huntington Learning Center owner and you post the right things about what you guys do to help people get better grades and pass the SAT and things like that, if people see that in your LinkedIn, in their LinkedIn newsfeed, when the time comes along that either their children need it or they know somebody who needs it, you hope that you will be the top of mind choice for them. They'll say, well, I already always see Mike on LinkedIn. He has the Huntington Learning Center. Maybe he could help my kids with their SATs or whatever. That, so certainly that, that's your main objective on LinkedIn. And let me get back to the presentation. So it's right, I think it's right for your business. If you're B2B, if you want to be a thought leader, one of the things that people do on LinkedIn is answer business questions. And I also think that if you're involved in your local chambers, networking groups, that type of thing, I think LinkedIn, and you can do local networking online. There's nothing wrong with that at all, versus sending somebody an email, sending them a message on LinkedIn to connect. Believe me, I've gotten business that way, lots of business. So I would encourage you to do that. A couple of times a week. Again, I don't think there's anything wrong with sharing LinkedIn and Facebook content if you would like. Put the same thing on Facebook that you're putting on LinkedIn. Anything at all, I think that's fine. More formal and technical. You might not want to put fun stuff. If you do, like on the Huntington Learning Centers, we put, I would say anything. As I think here, because it still has to do with learning, but think about it if it'll work on LinkedIn. Understand that LinkedIn is more of a business environment. You have pages on LinkedIn and profiles on LinkedIn. So you can see we were looking at my profile. We're gonna, whether you've got one or the other, always complete your profile, and they'll be asking you on a somewhat regular basis to add new things. The more that you add, the better, and the better chance that you're going to show up if somebody were to look for you on LinkedIn, that it'll be easier for them to find you. So, add everything that you can. I encourage you to be, fill out all the different places. Recommendations, a great place to get some recommendations. I send people to LinkedIn if they're looking for recommendations, all that stuff. So, different, content things, product updates, it might be a place where you can toot your horn a little bit more. Behind the scenes, people always like behind the scenes. Some of the best webinar topics are when you include, let's take a behind the scenes look at how we do our social media. So, that would be something that might be interesting to see or hear. So, and here we have, one of the big functions of LinkedIn, I laugh because, during the economic downturn, which I don't know if that's going to happen again with the bad GDP results there. I mean, I'm not feeling it here, but I hope that, that's not bad. But anyway, when the economic downturn occurred, I saw a lot of my friends from my early days in corporate retail pass through LinkedIn. They were on while they were looking for a job, and then they were gone. But, from a business point of view, it's also a good place for recruiting. So, different types of content. LinkedIn just started LinkedIn Writers, and I actually got to be part of it. I need to do more writing, but I've posted about 3 things as a LinkedIn writer. So, in addition to blog posts, you could guides and ebooks. It's a good place for the business books, that sort of thing. My new book will be coming out probably in August or September. It's called Leveraging Your List. And, certainly I'll market it on LinkedIn. Industry news, in your quest to become a thought leader, that's a good thing to spread, let it be known that you're on top of the cutting edge of what's going on in your industry. Here's a couple of, LinkedIn content exercise. What can you say about you, product updates, behind the scenes, or recruiting, and then useful info, blog post, guides or ebook, industry news. So any of those things are good on LinkedIn. But like I said, even other things are good on LinkedIn as well. So, and here's the page. You can ask questions and answer questions. I talked about that a few minutes ago. Share multimedia. This is on one of the business pages. Be helpful, answer questions, that sort of thing. Key points on LinkedIn to do: fill out everything on your page. Be active at least twice a week. And like I said, if you want to share Facebook and LinkedIn content, that's probably okay, unless you have a lot of crossover between your 2 lists. But generally, there isn't a lot of crossover there. And even if there is some crossover, it only reinforces your message. Google Plus. So I'm going to take a break here and see if I can Does anybody, if you have a question, just write question, and I'm going to open it up, and you can actually ask the question, or you can type it in if you don't want to go on. But if anybody has any questions about anything that I've said so far, go ahead and either type it in or raise your hand, and I'll unmute you, and we'll leave it at that. And if not, I'm just doing such a great job of explaining everything. So I don't see any questions. So yeah, I can see if you're paying attention or not too. I mean, I know that people listen. Look at that. Whoops. Yeah, it's interesting. I know this as well, and I'm on webinars, and I sometimes wonder if the people are looking. But anyway, Google Plus. With Google Plus, I went to Social Media Marketing World in San Diego back in the beginning, end of March, beginning of April, I think it was. And Google Plus was the talk of the show, if it could be. We used to have that when I was in the shoe business and retail. But since then, the project manager for Google Plus has left. And Google Plus, while it's great for helping you get ranked on Google, there's some debate as to whether Google is going to continue to try to make it as strong as they hoped for it to be. Here are the numbers. In the nonprofit world, there's crickets out there on Google Plus, and then only about half of the rest of the world. And the numbers are even less. I mean, Google Plus is somewhat of a combination of Twitter in its openness, and basically everything that you put up is kind of out there, and Facebook, with the way that the posts look and the quantity of content that you can put out, that sort of thing. I recommend that everybody use Google Plus because of one thing, Google. And if you're using Google Plus, it's not going to hurt your ranking on Google, and it could very well help your ranking on Google. And you can use a tool like HootSuite to post similar content to Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Google Plus, all at the same time, so you don't have to spend a lot of time on Google Plus. So, if you're a content creator, it's definitely a place to be, because Google loves content creators if you have the time, and hopefully a tool like HootSuite will help you with that. And if you want more SEO value, when I showed you that circle with the internet and then all the other circles coming off of it, SEO, search engine optimization, is important for your website to get ranked. And really, all those other things help. So Google Plus is one of those things that help. Google uses an algorithm. It's constantly changing. There's actually a person, if you're curious about this at all, I don't know, if there's any techies on the call who are curious on this, but go to YouTube and search for a gentleman called Matt, M-A-T-T, Cutts, C-U-T-T-S. He's kind of a spokesman for Google, and he talks about all the different things that go on with Google searches, and he answers people questions. So Matt Cutts, he puts out videos every day and answers a different question about search. So it's pretty interesting, and I learn a lot from it. You need to create fresh content regularly. That goes back to having the blog and making sure you're doing something there in the little circles. Use the right keywords. That's always important with Google, is that the words that you use in the content that you create match the words that people use when they search for things. That's really important. That's what goes on in Google. And you can do broad keywords, or you can do long tail keywords that people will you'll get less searches of, but there'll be more qualified prospects. Like I said, Google loves Google. So you got to do Google Plus. So 3 times a week, up to 10 times a week, use keywords for searchability. What are the, if lawn care is one of the keywords that people use, make sure that your Google Plus post contains the words lawn care somewhere. And whatever, your keywords are on your website, matching them up with your content. And you should do, to say that, I'm going to do that for Google Plus now. We'll do it for everything, and then you don't have to worry about it, and it'll only help you a little bit more. So, different content types, blog posts, events, industry news, like we've talked about before. So again, you can share some of this content across platform and use a tool like HootSuite to do that. So, and what'll happen when you have a YouTube channel in the same account as your Google Plus, when you post a video to YouTube, it'll always show up on your Google Plus page. And just remember that in the title of your video, and in the description of your video, and in the keywords of your video, and you see this if you go to YouTube when you submit a video, these are the things that you have to fill in. You would want to put the keywords that people are searching for there as well. So, you can put up videos, like I said, your YouTube videos are shared as well, and then you can do graphics and all that sort of thing. And, Google Plus doesn't have the restrictions on graphics that Facebook does. Graphics that you use on Facebook, in certain locations, and I don't have the time to go through it all, you can only have 20% text and the rest has to be pictures. But there are little ways to get around that, and I figured one of those out last week. So here's a little Google Plus content exercise that you can do on your own time. And like I said, I'll provide the slides so you'll be able to do that. Here's some more content: share blog posts, industry news, events, any of those things. Photos. We've talked about this from other social media. So there's there's lots of similarities that go between them. And, we say using humor here, but, humor at any time. I tried something and I put up on my personal, I wanted to just see if people were even reading some of my stuff on Facebook. So I put up something of questionable humor, bathroom humor kind of thing, and I got a ton of responses from it. It was quite interesting. And as we know, the more people respond to it on Facebook, the longer it sticks around and the more virility that you get with it. So, that's why humor is important. And here, just like in other ones, here we're talking about keywords, but use keywords everywhere. You should get in the habit when you're talking about anything that you're doing in marketing, even direct mail. Where are your keywords? What are the buzzwords that make people think of our business? Is it lawn care? Is it rebuilt transmission? What are the things that it might be? So moving on to Pinterest. Pinterest, kind of like the MSL of the sports world, of the social media world, smaller numbers on Pinterest. And, the B2C world is where most of the activity is taking place. But again, for the nonprofits who are not using this free medium and exploiting it as much as they should, certainly you could do a Pinterest page with pictures of success stories and pictures of other things going on in industries, that sort of thing. So I don't know if you can hear that or not, but the ice cream truck is going by. So here we go. So we'll have to get the nonprofits to exploit this a little bit more. If you got products to sell, Pinterest is a great place to be. Have a person that I've worked with that has a gift shop, and she goes crazy on Pinterest, just crazy. Anytime anything new comes in, it gets pinned on her Pinterest page. People follow her, they see it, and they sell it. So, people know if you're a business and you're putting something new that you got up on your page and they like it, they need to get in and buy it before it's gone. So, if you can if you're a business like a gift shop and you can develop a great Pinterest following, you can do very well. And you can branch out to online because, there's going to be somebody in, Walla Walla, Washington that's going to want to buy your candle holders because your penguin candle holders, and they're going to see them because you type in penguin candle holders and Google finds it on Pinterest and they send you there and ba-doom. So I encourage you to check that out if you have a business that might work like that. If you have images to share, if you are lawn care company, I keep going back to my lawn care company, but they do a great job. We haven't done this with them, but we could certainly do a Pinterest page with great looking lawns on it and then provide tips on how to have a great looking lawn, that type of thing. And if we wanted to build awareness of our brand, which is certainly a function of marketing more than sales, you could do that. That's another great place to go. So, post as often as you can. One of those things, certainly for retailers, 5 to 10 times a day, and quality images are important. And a little tip on that, and I don't know how people use their phones, but most phones today provide adequate pictures for what you're going to use on the web. I have an iPhone 5, and it's outstanding. I have a nice Nikon D5200 digital SLR. Even when I go on vacation, I struggle to decide whether I want to take it with me or not because the iPhone does really well. So, Android or iPhones, I know there are Android phones that they actually tout the picture taking ability. So, have a phone that takes decent pictures, and you can really increase the quantity of social media content that you create greatly. So why is visual content important? 90% of the information transmitted to the brain is visual. Photos are like twice more than text updates. Although I'm seeing text updates get shown to people more than images sometimes. I wonder if Facebook has some sort of, this percentage of text posts versus this percentage of image posts. And since everybody is posting images, there's room in their algorithm to sneak in text posts. That's a theory that I just developed in my mind as we were talking here. So, but it'll look good in the transcript. 67% say that images are very important in selecting and purchasing a product. You want to see something, you want to buy it, you want to see what it's going to look like. Online jewelry sales have skyrocketed over the last couple of years as the ability to provide high-quality images with high-speed internet service. I couldn't think, the word wasn't coming out. High-speed internet gives you the ability to do really high-resolution images of jewelry and sell it online. So things that you should do on Pinterest, about your products, and, create images. Take a picture, bring it into a tool like Canva, and I'll show you that. And then, photos and videos, certainly. So let me, let me get through, curated content as well, especially with images on Pinterest. If you see a great looking image, you can certainly share that. Blog posts, all the blog posts that we do, almost all, I can't say all, we create an image to go with it. And then you could, it might be a text image that says the name of the blog post, but you can put that on Pinterest as well. And you can also use these images with quote, which you'll find in Postplanner. So that's, that gives you another thing to think about using Postplanner for. So but again, I don't know if you can share them cross-platform, but I'll let you just figure that out. Pinterest content exercise, like the other social media exercises before. How others are using it. Unique sheep. This is a little gift kind of place. Products, useful pins, content from other places. How-to pins. That's a great one. How-tos are great everywhere. If you could do how-to videos, one of the big categories of videos on YouTube is how-to, and I think I alluded to it before with my lawn care company. Last year we did a video, how to change the oil on your John Deere tractor. Got great traction on that. So people are always looking for what to do next. So I'm going to, here's a couple of more ideas on Pinterest. And I'm actually going to go back out to the web. I'll be wrapping up in 5 minutes. So, the other thing I wanted to show you, this is strategic marketing group search. There's lots of strategic marketing groups in the country. As you scroll through, you can see, and we're the number one. For about the last couple of years, I've been able to keep us at the top of the strategic marketing groups. Part of it could be the name, but it took me a little while to get up there. But one of the things that I wanted to show you, there's a couple of other places that I show up. I'm an Infusionsoft certified consultant as well. So I show up there on the Infusionsoft marketplace. And then I also show up on Facebook, SMG Marketing. So if you click on this, it takes you to our Facebook page as well. So the other thing that I wanted to show you was a place where you can go to edit and create images called Canva. And here you go right here, and you can join. It used to be you had to, it was in beta. It's still actually B. There's a little B up there. So it's still in beta, but you sign up for it. It's free, and they'll charge you for images, but they'll charge you like $1 for images. So, if you wanted to create a new Facebook cover, you can just go right here, and it's going to have some ideas for you, or it'll help you create custom ones as well. And as you can see here, and if you used one of these, it's going to cost you, let's say here, I don't know how we use Photoshop. We've used this before, but let's just see if it's going to ask me to pay. But you won't pay more, I don't think, than $1 for most images. And here you can see, and there's plenty of images. You can do text, you can do background. There's other things you can do. All different types of graphics that you can create. Google Plus photos, presentations, posters, all kinds of stuff. And like I said, it's free to use it. And if you had your own picture and you wanted to edit it and use that, there wouldn't be any charge. But if there were other things, you would pay, but pay very small amounts. So I encourage you, great place. There's also another place that you can use called PixMonkey. And here we go. Well, maybe it's the wrong. Let me just do a Google search. PicMonkey, I'm sorry. PicMonkey. So photo editing made of wind. So here again, I think this is free to sign up for it. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I know we have an account for us because my assistant has used it. But anyway, so back to that. So I'm going to wrap up the presentation. I try to keep these to an hour. And if you have questions, type in your questions if anybody has any questions, and we'll wrap up this presentation. So here we go. Thank you all. All you guys are hanging in there. This is great. Next step, think about etiquette, not completing your page. I alluded to this at the beginning of the presentation. Talk about yourself all the time. We're all guilty of this. I felt kind of bad. I did Meals on Wheels today, and there's a gentleman that's on the Meals on Wheels who's I think he's 93, and he's the nicest man. And he used to write letters to our local newspaper on a regular basis, but I don't know if he can do that anymore. And he asked me, I dropped off his meal, and he asked me, "How's your daughter doing?" And my daughter's working at Fenway Park this summer, so it's incredible. But I felt, I felt kind of bad, like talking about me and my daughter. But he asked, and I certainly thanked him for asking. But, don't talk about yourself all the time. I don't know what that had to do with it. But infrequent posting or posting too much, don't overdo it. I see this, and it just blows me away where people put up 6 posts within 2 hours. Ignore your fans. And here's a little tip on ignoring your fans. Go out and get an app, if you have a smartphone, Android or Apple, called Facebook Pages. Facebook Pages. And if you have business pages, You can set up, you can have your business page and Facebook pages. You can do different things in there with it. And it's a good tool to help manage your Facebook page while you're on the road. But it also, you can set it up that if anybody ever makes any comments on your Facebook page, you can get a notification so you can make sure that you keep up with the activity on your Facebook page. Great way to go. Don't delete negative comments. Be helpful, create a positive experience. Sometimes you might have to, and I've had to, certainly inappropriate content you had to delete. I had my client that's the bar and pub had some bad comments on there for the recent election that we had. So there, how to know when it's working, when you get engagement, content, and frequency your audience wants, likes, shares, comments, tweets, any of that. When you see that going, then you know that you're getting some results. This is, I'm going to save this, but it ties into this, certainly. You got to go do it. Choose the networks that are right for you. The most important step, and how you would determine what network is right for you, is ask your customers where they are. Like I said at the beginning, Facebook is a safe bet to get started with. In the business-to-business world, you may consider getting started with LinkedIn. Understand what I'm saying is generalizations, but if you're just in mental gridlock and you can't decide, flip a coin. If you're a B2C company, go to Facebook. If you're B2B, flip a coin. I don't know if but try to ask your customers. Use the worksheet to help with content identification. Try the next steps that we suggest. Keep track of audience engagement. And so well, I can put it up there. We're going to talk for a minute or two here about constant contact at the end. And the last, when we were talking about engagement, for me, when I showed the circle with the internet, and then one of the squares was marketing, and I said that email marketing is really where you should be. My next book is going to be titled Leverage Your List. You need a place to keep your list so you can nurture customers, nurture prospects, generate leads, do what you have to do to get more business. And email marketing is the place to start off. And I have a success story that I want to share. Sometimes people feel that they don't have enough people, and I have a small list or whatever it might be. I recently had a mortgage lender that I started working with on social media and email marketing, and he had a list of about 200 people that he pretty much had never sent bulk emails to, email blasts to, but had good relations with all these people, and they had consented to allow him to send them emails. He had had this conversation because he had done a little bit of the 50 outlooks, that sort of thing. So the first email that we just did this about 2 weeks ago, he had like 35 bounces, which was a lot of bounces, and you don't want to have a lot of bounces, and sometimes that can slow you down. But that was symptomatic of the list that he had. But he had 8 people who commented to him, like wrote back to him because of this email blast that he sent. A couple of them just thanking him for the email, glad to hear from him. One of them actually turned into a first-time home buyer customer, because the mom's got the email and she said, my daughter's looking for a house, ba-doom. And this was his first email. So, if he closes on that loan, it's certainly going to be worth his while, and when you hear these numbers, and sometimes, you may think that it's suspect, but you hear numbers from the Direct Marketing Association that email marketing gets 40 times return on investment. I can tell you more than one story, just like the one that I just told you, that are true. I mean, these are things that I've done with clients with email marketing. So with constant contact, that kind of did it on its own. It must be telling me to get over. It starts off at $20 a month. I don't know how you can miss that. And we only have a couple of days left till the end of the month, but we're going to give you a free template campaign design with the purchase of the $20 a month plan, 50% off the first month. So it's really $10 a month if you do it by the end of the month. And then I'm going to do a couple of things for you as well. And one of them is I'm going to do a 1-hour free setup call to help you import your list. Do just like I did with my client, the mortgage guy, help you create your first email broadcast. So you will have the potential to do the same thing that he did. If you keep it going, another success story was one of the Huntington Learning Centers where on the third email, they got a $2,400 SAT prep class. So that's another thing. And here, the slides, this link is wrong. This is from the last one. So like I said, I'll be sending everybody out an email. I'd like to give everybody a call on Monday. The last day for this promotion is Monday. I'm sorry I'm doing this at the end of the month. But if you're interested in Constant Contact, you can go to this list, and it's goo.gl/6L3YRT. And the case is important, but it's 6L3YRT. It's a Google shortened link that'll take you where you can go. I just did that. It's shorter than the Constant Contact link that I need to give you. So that's it, boys and girls. I thank you, everyone, for attending. I'm going to look again. Thanks, Chloe. Great feedback there. Thank you, Donna, for the feedback as well. If there's any other questions that people have, please just raise your hand. Scott, we got Scott. I can see Scott. I'm going to open it up. I'm sorry I missed that. You have a question, Scott?
Yeah, Chris, I just wanted to make sure I'm interested in that the promotion with the Constant Contact. So can I just go to the website that you listed there?
Yes, you can. Yeah, it's the goo.gl and then the 6L3. Well, I'm going to actually I can copy this link. How about that? I can if it's not letting me. How about it's not letting me click here for some reason. Here we go. So here I'm going to put that in. That's the link right there. And then if you want last week's slides, I'll also put that in. Here's a link to that. And here's, if you wanted to get last week's slides, and I'll send you an email with this week's slides, and I'll send an email as well with the Constant Contact link. And that's, so that's about it. Thanks, Scott.
Okay. Thanks, Chris.
Yep. Any other questions? Anything else from anybody? Okay, with that, I'm going to wrap it up. And everybody have a great day and great weekend, and stay cool. Thanks. Bye-bye.